Yo, how's it going, everybody? Swagkage here. Welcome to another Naruto discussion video. Today with me, I have my pal, my sidekick, Clyde the Weeaboo. I don't really know if a lot of you guys have been asking about him, but I'm sure some of you thought he went missing.
Oh wow, that's insulting. They've clearly missed me, but
yeah, well, no, every single comment I received was actually asking about your whereabouts. But he's here, and as you can clearly see for yourself, today we're going to be talking about Naruto fights that we would have liked to have seen, but never actually happened in the actual series. And I mean, I guess yeah, this is just more of me inserting my own fucking Naruto fanfic wet dreams onto YouTube.
Bit of a juicy little discussion, really. We won't go into all the intricacies of the fights themselves, but we just
this video would be like 24 hours long if we did.
Yeah, it really would. It'd be like an hour per fight, but yeah, we just want to cover a lot of the fights that we would have liked to see. Rob and I talked about a lot of these stuff in the background before recording the video, and we did find a couple of ones that would have been pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, like series, legitimately like top tier anime fights that I think like everybody would unanimously enjoy. And hey, if you want to see us cover, you know, some of these fights as like proper versus battle videos, you know, you can just let us know in the comments, and yeah, we'll definitely do that. Now, one thing that I should specify before we begin is this isn't like just random matchups that we would like to see because we think they would be cool. Like Tobirama versus Kisame is an example of one that just couldn't happen. It doesn't make sense. Neither of them were alive at the same time, and there's no real way for you to set something like that up. Something that's more feasible is, we'll just go ahead and get into our number one, Indra versus Ashura. Well, like, we got to see this in the anime, right? It was in the form of a filler, but it was a pretty shitty filler. I didn't like the filler because of how it characterized Indra and Ashura. Indra just had, like, all of Sasuke's abilities, and Ashura just had, like, a mix of Hashiramas and Naruto's. He had, like, a super Rasengan before the Rasengan was even made. Like, it didn't make sense. That filler didn't explore the characters well enough. I think, like, if we had actually seen, like, a serious flashback of a battle between the two where they had, like, unique movesets, I think the fight would have been really cool. I think it would have been, like, Hashirama versus Madara, but on fucking mega steroids. It would have been sort of like Naruto versus Sasuke, really.
It would have been cool because, like, the thing that made Madara unique, for example, when he first got his Sage abilities, was that he whipped out Light Style, and it's like, wait, we haven't seen this before,
yeah.
which was really cool. And Indra and Ashura didn't really have any unique standalone abilities of their own. They just had, like, kind of like rehashed versions of Sasuke and Naruto's abilities, so yeah, that was a bit of a letdown.
It wasn't rehashed versions. They literally just had Naruto and Sasuke's powers.
Yeah, you get what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know, like, it's like Indra had a Matarasu and a purple perfect Susanoo, and it's like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, I'm pretty sure everybody wanted to see this fight go down. We're kind of just preaching to the choir here, so before we move on, do you have anything you want to add to that, or no?
I think it just would have been cool because to show how overpowered those characters were, like, it would have been purely for us to just sit there and jerk off over how OP the characters would have been. That's probably the most exciting part about it.
I guess it would have given us a neat precedent for the shit that was gonna go down with Obito, Madara, and eventually Naruto and Sasuke, and I guess Kaguya a bit. Speaking of Kaguya, another fight that would have been cool to see. I think we also got this in the filler. I didn't really pay too much attention to any of the Naruto filler, actually. I just, you know, briefly, like, skim over it. But, it would be Hagoromo and Hamura versus Kaguya. I mean, that fight was kind of, like, hyped up in the manga as this, like, huge titanic clash that, like, the fate of the world rested on. And, I imagine the fight was really cool. I would have loved to see a full-power Hagoromo fighting alongside Hamura. Hagoromo has both Naruto and Sasuke's abilities. Like, he has, like, all of Madara's abilities, but, like, and then some. I mean, again, just like Indra versus Ashura, it just would have been a really cool fight.
Yeah, it would have been hyped to see how they would have, you know, it would have been hyped to see how they dealt with Kaguya back in the day, because, like, that was pretty ruthless, like you said it was. The fate of the world was literally at stake.
Yeah, and it also would have helped provide a little bit of build-up for Kaguya. Let's say if that was, you know, a couple chapters long as the Sage of Six Paths was explaining what was going on, then you'd be like, oh shit, is Kaguya gonna show up? And then she does, and it still would have been annoying that Zetsu backstabbed Madara, but I think it would have been a much easier pill to swallow if the Sage of Six Paths had directly mentioned her, you know, right before she appeared. It would have felt like it came less out of nowhere.
Yeah, it definitely would have led into the story a lot smoother rather than like, oh wow, there goes Madara, fucking rip.
Well, now, I know she was mentioned once before already. The series did dabble on her. I'm only getting this out of the way because of comments. Like, I know people are going to be like, but Swag, they did talk about Kaguya in the series already. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but, like, it would have been nice to see her fight beforehand, if you get what I mean.
Oh, she's trash. Let's move on.
Okay, so moving on to earlier points in the series. Like, this is, like, pre-Pain. I think Sasuke should have gotten more fights as, like, heavy Sasuke. Like, pre-MS, I think it would have just been nice to see him do some more shit. Some cool opponents for him. I've already talked about one of these, but I would have liked to see him fight Jiraiya first. I would have liked to see him fight more members of the Akatsuki, as a matter of fact. Seeing him match up against Sasori would be awesome. Kakuzu would be really cool as well. A fight with Kisame would be pretty decent, but I don't think it would be nearly as cool as fucking, like, Kakuzu or, especially not Jiraiya. I've already made a video talking about Sasuke versus Jiraiya with Seth, but, see, Seth disagrees with me on the outcome of that fight, whereas Klein, he thinks that our boy Sasuke would come away with a W. Yeah, that's not important, no. Why do you think the fight would be entertaining?
Well, we come up with an actual situation of how it could have happened, because this isn't just us picking characters and matching them up, obviously.
Right.
We're talking about things that could have happened.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning
a situation, a situation I gave to Rob was like, what if, let's say, well, you know, Jiraiya was somewhere out on a little journey, as he occasionally does, and then he accidentally runs into Sasuke, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna try and bring Sasuke back for the sake of Naruto, because, you know, he obviously cares about Naruto. They get into an exchange of fisticuffs, and then they end up fighting. So
yeah,
that's a possibility where it could have happened. I feel like that's
or he hears that Sasuke killed Orochimaru, quote unquote, and he's just like, yeah, this kid is way too dangerous at this point. You know, like maybe he seems like a decent person, but like I gotta shut him down. Maybe bring him back to the village, because we can't have him running around like a, you know, as a rogue ninja anymore. It's just, you know, too much of a problem. He nearly killed Naruto, Sakura, Yamato, and Sai. I definitely need to put him down, you know, something along those lines. And I think the fight would be really cool, especially depending on the location, because, you know, if it was somewhere with a lot of corridors like the village hidden in the rain was, that would be really cool to see, because it would just be fucking nothing but tactics. It would just be them trying to figure each other out, you know, hiding while they formulated strategies, coming out, you know, like just all these crazy hit and run tactics. I think it would be a lot more entertaining than, say, like where Sasuke fought Deidara, which was this like wide open field where you don't really have any room to stop and think or do any setup or whatever. So like something like maybe like a forest or whatever, that would make for a pretty cool fight between Sasuke and Jiraiya. And regardless of the outcome of the fight, it would be a really cool character moment for Naruto to have to speak to Jiraiya, and for Jiraiya to say, look, Sasuke is way too strong for you now, dude. Like, there's absolutely no way you would come out alive if you fought to the death with this kid.
Yeah, let's be specific, like, during that part of the series, because I know Naruto fans are going to go fucking mental if we even imply that one's stronger than the other, but... Yeah, it's honestly not far-fetched that they could have fought, because Jiraiya was kind of in a Hokage type position where he would have been like, alright, I've got to deal with this, Tsunade can't leave the village, this is something that I can do in my spare time. And on top of that, you know, regardless of how much of a cunt Orochimaru was, I think that Jiraiya did care about him somewhat, and it would have upset him to see that he's being killed to an extent, so he does have more incentive to go after him.
If not that, what I think it would... like, the message it would send to Jiraiya is, like, it seems like he has no loyalty, you know, he doesn't feel responsible for anything, right, aside from killing Itachi. He doesn't feel like he has anybody to answer to. That's incredibly dangerous, because he was strong enough to take out Orochimaru, somebody capable of assassinating the third Hokage. And granted, he was sick and all of that, but I don't know if Jiraiya would know the extent to which that was, like, hindering Orochimaru's abilities. Like, I'm sure he heard that Orochimaru went toe-to-toe with, like, four-tailed Naruto, so he'd be like, Jesus Christ, Sasuke took this guy out. He wouldn't have to know that Orochimaru was bedridden. You know, he might just think that in, like, a one-on-one fight to the death, Orochimaru fighting all out, lost, and that would definitely scare him. On top of that, he may have heard that Sasuke killed Deidara, which would be another, that would alarm him a lot. He'd be like, Jesus, Deidara took out Garo with next to no effort whatsoever. This guy's, like, fucking Kage level. He can't just be allowed to, like, you know, just roam the streets freely like this, doing whatever he wants.
Yeah, it would have been a pretty realistic thing that could have happened. And just to see how Sasuke would have dealt, because he's a very tactical fighter, that's something I've always loved about him, to see how he would deal with a lot of Jiraiya's jutsus and stuff, that would have been such an amazing fight to see. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good hypothetical one. What about the next one?
Yeah, Sasuke versus Kakuzu is another fight I'd like to see. Like I said, I'd like to see Sasuke fight a lot more of the Akatsuki members, particularly Sasori, just because of how tactics-based that fight would be. But Kakuzu in particular would be pretty good. Now, I'm not sure if Sasuke would be able to beat Kakuzu, and I'm not saying that Kakuzu's stronger than Jiraiya. I'm just saying that I don't know if he'd be able to deal with all of the tools at Kakuzu's disposal, just because I think Kakuzu's more of a hard counter. But I mean, yeah, no, like there's just so many reasons why that would be fun to see. I'll try and not talk about Sasuke so much. You know, people could be like, yeah, talk about people that are Uchiha for what. So moving on. Kakashi versus Guy. Why didn't we get to see that one? That was just a fight that sort of demanded to be shown, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah, it would have just been cool as a friendly little sparring session. You know, it doesn't have to be serious, but it just would have been cool to see how they did, because they did all those competitions with each other, but they never really fought each other, which would have been cool. Like, I would have just liked to see that for entertainment value, whether or not it impacts the story.
Obviously, we can't have 8th Gate Guy versus MS Kakashi. No,
it would be purely.
That's
purely
not realistic at all.
It would be them purely just, you know, having a fun sparring match. That's all.
I think, you know, that'd be a lot of fun. Don't really have much else to say about that. I'm just surprised by the fact that it didn't happen.
Alright, and basically the last one that we sort of talked about a lot before recording this video was actually that we never got to see Madara versus Jubito. That shit would have been fucking hype. Go into it, Mr. Rob.
Okay, now I get it. Now you guys are probably fucking, like, foaming at the mouth. Like, did he just say Madara versus Jubito? And I'm like, okay, now listen. Look, I don't think that Madara would have won, like, effortlessly. Well, let me go ahead and specify. This is, like, base Madara with Sage Mode versus Jubito. No, I don't think he would have won effortlessly, but it's implied that Madara was going to absorb Hashirama's Sage Chakra and use that to fight Jubito, because when Naruto and Sasuke extract the Jubi from him, Madara's like, oh, thanks, Naruto. You saved me quite a bit of trouble. And he forces Obito to cast Rinne Rebirth on him, and then, you know, gets ready to retrieve all of the tailed beasts again. Now, this implies that he was going to fight Jubito himself in order to extract the Tin Tails manually and become its Jinchuriki, after having Obito revive him, of course. And the only way for him to do this would be by stealing Hashirama's Sage Chakra. And now this would be fucking crazy. Like, imagine how quick and how impossible to touch Madara would be with Sage Jutsu. And, you know, Obito would still be getting used to controlling the Jubi. He'd probably be a little bit fatigued from all the combat with Naruto and Sasuke. Madara, thanks to reading the Uchiha Stone Tablet and having more insight into all of this shit thanks to Zetsu, would probably be able to deal with the Truth-Seeking Orbs. Obviously, he's not, like, as fast or as powerful as Obito, but it just would have been a really cool fight to see. Madara would have been doing all of this crazy shit for the sake of diversions. Like, yeah, I mean, like, what do you think?
Alright, so think about all the times when Kakashi fought people, for example, and the way that he would, like, have 5 steps ahead planned. Alright, now picture this with Madara, because this would be the first time where Madara is actually fighting someone where he's at risk of losing. So I would have liked to see how Madara would approach a fight from a tactical standpoint. And on top of that,
right, where he's not just swinging his sack in the other person's face.
It would have been cool, because imagine seeing Madara set up jutsus. Like, he's got like 3 different ones planned ahead. He's like, right, I'm going to do this, and a substitution, hit him with something. That would have been
that's
so fucking
exactly
badass.
What I was saying. The appeal of this would be having to see Madara push himself, and because that's one of the things that I think is the coolest thing ever. When you see a villain, like when they're getting pressed and they have to start trying like their absolute hardest, and you see like that they're like straining themselves. That would have been so cool with Madara, and we never got that from him. It was just him shitting on everybody, and I would have loved to see him like try his absolute hardest in this fight.
Just being in the Sage modes itself, mixed with the Renegon and his already amazing Taijutsu, like, he's going to be slipping around, like, barely getting hit ever.
Well, yeah, just seeing him use the Renegon to its maximum potential in combination with his, like, wood style, his fire style, his Susanoo, like, all of the... Imagine him sicking all of these Sage Mode wood Susanoo clones on Obito, and having Obito forced to deal with all of that crazy shit while Madara was just, like,
it was going to happen.
Around.
It was going to fucking happen. Fucking Naruto and Sasuke basically cucked us.
Yeah, I know. Naruto had to talk no jutsu us out of the craziest fight in the series. I think that would probably be my #1 fight, like, if not for... the fact that
imagine if they made it like 3 episodes long.
I'd fucking seam in my pants.
Alright, well, I think we're pretty much done, aren't we, with the list? We could always go into...
Check out Clyde the Weeaboo's channel, link in the description.
Wait just a second. Wait, let me shield. Yeah, guys, so I haven't been uploading in a while, because I'm lazy, but I am...
Check out his channel.
I am editing a pretty cool Bleach video, so if you do go check out my channel, that's an incentive to go check it out. You don't have to, but if you do, I'd appreciate it. A lot of work's gone into the video. Thanks for having me on,
Make him money!
Yeah, make me money.
And you're welcome. Please get Clyde rich.
I don't know how to react.